Yo ho ho! What's going on, boys? This is Grim Reaper bringing you One Punch Man, chapter 147 review. Let's hop into it quickly because we got a lot to talk about, a lot to cover because a lot happened. Shout out to Morata and One for coming out with a great release. Shout out to the translators that I put in the work. If you want to support the channel and help us grow so we can bring you more content like this, not just reviews, but reactions and podcasts, make sure to check out the links in the description and subscribe. Like the video. So let's begin. The hype for this fight has been crazy for a long time. And I'm not just talking about the fight between Bang, because that's obviously been foreshadowed for a long time. The entire dilemma of Bang wanting to bring down his disciple on his own, because it's his responsibility. As Atomic Samurai kind of somewhat shed some light on in the previous chapter. That's already been established. Bomb is different, though. From the beginning, Bang went and got his brother Bomb for this very case and issue. We don't know the exact cause and reason for it. We could chalk it up to it being because of what he said, quote unquote, that he doesn't think he can do it or he needs help in this mission, but it may be more so for emotional support. I'm not doubting that could be for both reasons. That Bang does believe that Garou could possibly pose a threat that he can't handle on his own. And he really only trusts his brother to deal with it. While it also is true, 100%, that Bomb has to be here for emotional support. The chapter where Garou showed up is the best instance that we get for that. The best indication for that. Bomb didn't first take off on Garou. Bomb didn't first bring down Garou. He first called Bang. And even in this chapter, he mentioned to himself that, hey, it's supposed to be you versus Bang. He's supposed to be the one that's going to wrangle you. But I'm here for now. And he even told himself, I got to stay up in the meantime because it was a tough fight. But throughout the entire sequence, throughout this entire plot line, Bomb has made it clear that he understands Bang's prerogative and Bang's mission. Do not kill Garou. Let me handle it. And it's badass to see that was the way that Bomb took throughout the fight. I don't want to use that to allow somebody to try and sneak in an argument that Bomb held back or something like that. I don't think that was the case whatsoever. Let me make it clear. This fight here was nothing but hype and crazy. And there's so many feats and so many achievements that others are getting, so much hype that other characters are getting. It's because of this matchup piece, because of what was accomplished in this fight here. So I guess the best claim or the biggest claim that we can make is that Bomb is confirmed a High Dragon now. We were talking about that there was speculation from Murata and other sources that Bomb may be stronger than Bang. We still can't confirm that indefinitely. But it does seem like Bomb is that boy. Bomb is just relentless and arguably stronger than Darkseid. Definitively stronger than Darkseid. And possibly much stronger than Darkseid. So let's start off by talking about the actual fight between Garou. Counting, I think he only got hit 3 times. I think Bomb, and it's difficult because it's both hype for Garou and for Bomb. Because I think from what I can count, and we have the sequence there where they're going back and forth, right? Where Fubuki can't even see what's going on. That sequence throws the count right out of the window. But from what we can see on panel, I think Garou took out Bomb with 3 clear hits. Let's just say that 3 clear hits is what brought down Bomb. So that shows that the incredible power that that Garou can produce. Now, we've seen Bomb and Bang and Fubuki take on the biggest threat, one of the biggest threats possible in Rover. And I'm not saying that on the merit of their strength alone, or they didn't dodge or find a way to deflect or block or reduce the damage from Rover's attacks. I'm saying that they took on several Rover attacks, and they came out alright. Whether it's with Fubuki's boost or not, it still gives accolades and claims to their durability, their defensive capabilities. And if Garou's able to get through this and bring him down in a quick effort, at the end of this chapter, Garou already had his foot on Bomb's back. It felt so weird to me and so out of place to me because the chapter didn't really show that. And the chapter shows Bomb in the fight the entire time. Like, there's no panel in this fight besides, like, the end, the last two panels, maybe even the last panel, where Bomb's out of it. The entire fight, even in the first portion of the fight, because in the chapter, we get the first half, and then we get sequences of the rest of the heroes and the rest of the cadres coming in and killing Fury Ugly, who may arguably be the start of this chapter, but we got this fight here. This fight takes precedent, and I think this fight actually has a merit to hold precedent over Fury Ugly's achievements, but it's still, we'll get to Fury in a little bit. But we have it here, like, Bomb controlled a lot of this fight. You would even, like, I would even give, I've tried myself. After rereading the chapter a few times, I'm trying to find an argument or some type of detail or a hint to show that Garou grew in the fight to Bomb's level, but I'm not sure that that's the case. Maybe the only hints that I think could allude to that are his canceling of the whirlwind. Because previously, Bomb hadn't shown Garou the whirlwind that much. We know that we have the instance of Orochi being able to copy Garou's stance and moves, basically the style, pretty well, just by one look. So we know that it's not unprecedented in the series, but it is one of the highest feats, if not the highest feat, of combat intuitiveness, if that's the phrase that you want to use. So maybe we could use that as a feat for Garou, right? We've never seen anybody do that before. We've never even seen Garou cancel the water stream, if that's even cancelable. So to have him literally the master of the whirlwind, there's no better whirlwind user in the world. We don't even know of a disciple who's a whirlwind user. He cancels it without training with the individual at all. And from what I could tell in the beginning sequence of the fight, really Bang only uses the whirlwind one time before the rest of it's just like, he's just in combat, just going back and forth with him. Like, the fact that Bomb fought Garou to this extent, to this entire point like that, is nothing but accolades and achievements for Bomb. He's incredible. Physically, speed-wise, technique-wise, he's the top of the tier. There's not very many heroes right now, or any of the other heroes right now, that are competing with Bomb without putting their life in the line. And I'm talking about excluding the weapons users and excluding the special power users. Like, we could probably not talk about Atomic and Flashy, and we could probably not talk about Tatsumaki or Blast. But the entire rest of the S-Class, to me, I think is susceptible to being monopolized in a fight by Bomb. It's incredible what he put through this fight. Like, not only did he catch Garou's attack towards Fubuki, relentless, like, just crazy attack towards Fubuki, but then he pulls a whole Dark Shine shoulder throw in there. Like, just slams him across. Like, it was, like, Bomb really put in work. Bomb really put in work. There's an instance here where he does give some more hype. Let's go back and forth to Garou. Now, he mentions that Garou seems to have combined a lot of fighting styles into one. And usually Murata gives subtle hints to what the dialogue is. You may not see it if you're not paying attention. You may not recognize it if you're not also rereading, seeing instances and stances from previous chapters that characters did or characters affiliated with them or in their plot and storyline. Case in point, perfect example, or the prime example, is Garou's different stances in contrast to Bang, and how they have evolved and changed over time. As we saw it with the latest time where he fought Darkshine, where his calming breath was different than when it was up against when he fought Bang during the whole EC debacle. So even subtle things like that have changed. So I thought that, hey, if Bomb is saying that this guy is combining a bunch of his fighting styles and it's crazy and new, maybe there's some hints of that. And I tried to find out the clearest thing that I think is a derivative of a different fighting styles are two things. First is Garou's like takeoff. The way he took off in the first instance towards Bomb didn't necessarily seem like too humanish. Now, it wasn't on all fours. I'll make a stipulation. The clear confirmed sign of him using a watchdog attack style for movement would be the use of all fours. But I don't remember seeing Garou like yelling like this in such a monstrous beast-like state and then just attacking like that. It's even an argument, or it even gives credit to the argument that's going around saying that Garou is like asleep or he's not in his like right mental state. Maybe. It's plausible, more plausible than implausible, actually, because he really hasn't spoken words. We know that Garou can speak coherently. So, that was the first instance of maybe him using a combination of a different style. The second instance is in the first beginning of the sequence as well, when he first attacks Bomb. The style once he's coming with that kick, I first thought it looked similar to the jet drive arrow that Genos is using. I went back to chapter 83, 84. Genos never used a jet drive arrow in front of Garou. Then you look at the end of the chapter 83 when Bomb comes in and smacks Garou in the face with a kick right in front of Genos to save him from Genos. That's what I think this looks the most similar to. Even the way that he's positioning his left hand, the hand that's closest to Bomb, seems to be similar to what Bang was doing to a small extent. But besides that, I can't really recognize too many different like instances of combinations of different fighting styles with different individuals he's encountered. Maybe his raw strength, maybe like his like the way that he's dodging attacks, like intuiting attacks. Like I'm not exactly sure what Bomb meant when he was describing like Garou's combination of the variety of fighting styles that he assumes he's encountered. But this was good. Before we move on to the next half of the fight, which there's really not too much more to elaborate on besides like the finality of the situation. You need competence on both sides to make anything have value. Right? If you want your hero to get great achievements, to look badass, to actually get stronger, to make his accomplishments worth something, they have to be tough. That means that whoever he's contrasting against has to be powerful. Now, in this instance, I don't want to say anti-hero, but the vigilante that we're supporting, the individual who we champion as if he was the main character, as if he was the hero of our story, aside from Saitama. He's competent. And that's what I'm trying to get at, that like we may see Bomb as the good guy, but it's pretty clear that Murata and want to position Garou as like the centerpiece of the story for us. We're following Garou's journey. It's not like we're following the hero's journey. We're just getting attacked randomly by monsters or by the same monster. Then it's their job to come together and beat that monster. No, like this monster is going about attacking a bunch of different heroes, and it's those heroes' job to come and sneak and attack and do different types of like assaults on that monster. That's basically what it is. So I'm very, very glad. I'm very, very happy that not only is his hero journey through the S class to go up the ranks, like the whole Afro Samurai, the whole like second strongest swordsman, the whole title aspect of anything ever for all sports and all aspects of competition. I'm glad that that's the method that one of Murata chose for Garou's growth, because every single next fight will be a bigger and better challenge. And we'll get to see more and more and more of these crazy individuals who we don't get a chance to see because they don't get a chance to fight people that are strong. They themselves have the very same problem. The opponents that they face, they can't be that powerful. They literally cannot be that powerful. Let me not say they cannot be, but it's definitely arranged. I don't know if you noticed that like almost all the S-Class fought a demon first and then a dragon before they had to come up to the surface or whatever. So I think I'm trying to get at that, like, please don't downplay Bomb. Please don't try to find a way to like pretend that this wasn't a complete fight. I guess the strongest argument would be to say that, like, yeah, Garou improved mid-fight, but I don't think it's incorrect to say that Garou isn't awake yet. That's basically what I'm trying to get at. I think there's credibility in saying that Garou isn't awake yet, but I don't think there's credibility in saying that Bomb didn't work Garou, or that Garou didn't have to get a little bit stronger to overcome Bomb, because that seems to be the case. But enough about the greatness of the Garou and Bomb fight, because we know what the consequences of that were. There were some more things that happened along the way, some more side points, and then there was some fewer ugly greatness that was going on. So Pig God comes with the Fubuki and talks to her for a quick instance, or at least tries to address Tank Top Master, seeing what they did to him and how they left him. And then Fubuki says, "Hey, can you help me?" So I'm not sure what this is gonna turn out to be. We've seen Fubuki team up with Bang and Bomb. We've seen Fubuki team up with Tank Top Master. Now it's Pig God. I don't remember who else she's teamed up with, but we know that this is the aspect of how she works. And check this out. Immediately right next to this, I don't know if I should turn this right now. I'll summarize it now because I just saw something that I want to talk about Bang and Bomb, but I'll just say it real fast. The same thing that Tatsumaki did this chapter of trusting in somebody, I think Fubuki's gonna do the opposite of she's gonna do what she needs to do as well, which is the opposite of what she's been doing, and maybe leading. Maybe she's gonna be taking the initiative here. She is the one that's asking the question, so I'm assuming that she has a way to combat her. She has a way to do something to interfere. That's what it seems like it is. So I'm wondering, because we got some dialogue earlier that made it seem like Pig God was a Superman. That if he does something, he can use some like Latin power. So let's see if Fubuki can boost up this Latin power of Pig God, if that's a crazy threat. Pig God versus Garou? Possibility? Before we continue on to the next point, though, I did want to mention about the derivatives of the Bomb and Garou fight. When I mean derivatives, I mean things that we can derive from that fight for other characters and for other instances. So a lot of individuals in the Discord and the community have been talking about how Elder Centipede stock is going up dramatically because of this. And once you give it a little bit more thought, it gives it more sense. So Bang and Bomb haven't necessarily gotten stronger throughout the story. It's pretty clear whenever characters change or whenever characters get strength in One Punch Man. It's noted or shown in the series, made clear. Either a character is at a certain strength, an occurrence happens, and when they come back in their next appearance, their powers are different, and they acknowledge it verbally, or the dialogue acknowledges it, or the opponent acknowledges it. It usually happens almost every single time. I would almost say 95, 98% every instance that occurs. That's a confirmation for that. We also get it to where the character himself mid-fight, as we see, Metal Bat, Fear Ugly, Garou, Genos gets a cockroach. You can grow mid-fight, and then the stark difference is shown in the fight itself. But Murata and One always do a clear job of giving a strong and a clear contrast of an individual's. Hey, yo, get off the bed. Get off the bed, little monkey. Bruh. Alright. But what I thought was just a good job of giving a stark, clear difference of the two levels. So that's why I'm saying that, like, if Bang and Bomb didn't grow stronger, and Bomb right now, with a full power, full capabilities, telling himself that he can't fail, held off Garou, this current Garou, this monstrous Garou, who matched Darkshine, overwhelmed Darkshine. If Bang and Bomb teamed up with their strongest attack, arguably, or one of their strongest combo attacks, arguably, the Sky Orifice, and couldn't necessarily bring down EC, all they did was, like, encourage the molting of his carapace because he was already molting, according to the author and the artist. That means that Elder Centipede's durability is crazy. That means that there probably isn't a hero in the S-Class, aside from the top two, who could really bring down Elder Centipede. If Bang and Bomb strings together, somebody who we were told that Bang on his own, Darkshine couldn't get past, team up, and they can't bring down EC, they need help. Even Genos, after Bang and Bomb failed, Genos went on a spree and on an incursion by himself from the inside, from the interior, letting off crazy attacks, and that still was not enough. So that's why people are talking about Elder Centipede right now. And the same thing for Rover. That's the same exact instance for Rover. Rover, he took the Sky Aura Fist, the Dragon Fist combo or whatever. It was just fine. It's a powerful attack. Very, very powerful attack. It makes sense as to why it tamed him now. It didn't seem that powerful to me, but it makes sense as to why it tamed him now, because of this context that we're getting, especially from this fight here with Garou and Bomb. But EC and Rover, we were hype about the introduction of the recent cadres of this portion of the cadres we have so far. We got the initial introductions with Neon and Goketsu on the exterior. We could even consider like Evil Eye an indication of that too, where we're encountering those guys at first, even Phoenix Man. But then we got the big boys, Rover and Elder Centipede, two individuals who were out of the play. Then we got here this little collage here, who individuals are still hyping up as if they were to be the same instance of the other guys. They're completely different powers, completely different abilities. It's very, very difficult right now to argue that certain cadres is just stronger than the other cadres, because we got these instances. Like, what can Elder Centipede really do up against a sperm tsunami? Like, roll up against it, destroy those sperm? Sure. What can Black Sperm do to Elder Centipede? Like, a sperm tsunami? Like, it's not gonna get through the carapace. You can't squish all the sperm. Koketsu's not getting through the carapace. Rover's not getting through the carapace. Elder Centipede can't squeeze Rover out. Like, what are you gonna do to Rover? Hit him? Koketsu can't hit Rover like that. Is Neon gonna get in between the armor or between the scales and do nothing? Like, scratch him? Like, we don't have a way of beating Black Sperm. You can't do anything to water. Elder Centipede's carapace is just confirmed now to be crazy. Saitama was literally required for that. Rover is almost indomitable in terms of durability. Like, it's a toss-up again. And I like that. We'll get to assume. I like the fact that the cadres aren't just out. Like, they're coming back. Especially Fear now, who has a whole different spin to him and a whole different power setup. But I just wanted to go back on that to touch on the derivatives of the Bang and Bomb fight, because there's even more upscaling to go through with some other characters, but I'll just leave it to that. Just leave it to them at that point. So we get to see of what Black Sperm was talking about. So we get to see a big kaiju. A bunch of sperms. This one is much bigger than the one that Atomic Samurai encountered underneath the association base. It grabbed Tatsumaki, so that's showing some of its grip strength. And he was talking about squeezing the psychic life and psychic power of the life out of her. Just big strength. Plausible, but I think she could have resisted. Genos comes in. Black Sperm's power seems a lot bigger, and especially with the size, it seems to correlate. We know that we have the instance that the more he splits, it's not necessarily that he gets weaker, but like, his offensive prowess isn't the greatest. So, while each individual sperm has the capabilities of a dragon, it doesn't seem like they punch or have the speed of exactly like every other dragon. But it's still the same exact instance. Like, if you see a single sperm in a hallway, you're pretty much fucked. or thing. It's pretty much done. Like, regardless of what you can really try and do, he can summon an entire army from that one sperm. So, to see Genos tank this hit is still somewhat in between, because we don't know exactly how strong this kaiju sperm is. Now, don't get me wrong. If we got an instance to where this kaiju sperm like sent Darkshine flying, or like Bomb couldn't hurt it, or something like that, a feat to where somebody who's known for these categories, then we could say more about Black Sperm's destructive abilities here. I still think this helps clarify or at least show that Genos has high dragon capabilities right now. Or not, maybe not high dragon, but like, he's still a dragon fighter and probably a high dragon capability still, as he was with the 10-second mode. We saw him take on Gums and pierce through Gums offensively as an entire cadre multiple times. We've seen him go around Fear. We've seen him now take an attack directly, a direct trauma attack from Black Sperm and another cadre, and get right back up. So it's not like Genos isn't taking hits and he's not in the dust in the midst of a fight with multiple cadres. He's doing it. He's proven his merit again. He's earned his S-class ranking long ago. Now he's earning his top S-class ranking. Now he's earning his top respect, showing up against the community. To me, that's the biggest thing that we have to get past. The community's perception of Genos. I'm already hearing people saying that, like, oh, Genos' story is over. It's done. He got the girl. He's already a high dragon. Like, it's over for Genos. Get out of here. Get out of here. There's so much to do with this character. There's so many more instances, and we haven't even touched upon his actual backstory and what's to do with his family and the cyber that he's looking for. So, who's to say he doesn't need these upgrades? Who's to say that, like, these upgrades are going to leave soon? All I'm pointing out is that Black Sperm sent Genos flying, and this is a big kaiju. This is a big one. So if we really want to play about, oh, we don't know how strong he is, sure. We can keep waiting. Genos mentioned that he got a power up, or the anti-burial form, anti-burial tech from instances of previous fighting with Tatsumaki as like a prime example or a main example. So it's cool to see that. We always get like upgrades like that, like Genos' arms. In the Garou fight when he can detach his arms now, and there's still a string there or a cord to control us, so now they're detachable. Same thing with his midsection that he can, once it's cut or separated, he can reattach, still be functional as always. Another added feature from previous fights, previous instances. We know that he put in the goo for Awakened Cockroach from the Sonic fight. Genos always has contingencies for previous fights, so I'm glad to see that this upgrade was added there too. It's cool, and Murata did a really good job of actually intertwining it there. This was smooth. This was actually smooth play, smooth emotional, smooth relationship, smooth insertion of feels. It usually isn't. Like the whole Child Emperor, Zombie Man, all the other like just awkward emotional stuff that's clearly forced in there. And none of the characters have shown any type of instance or illusion or leaning that they were like that. Like none of these characters seem that lovey-dovey or caring or nice to each other, or like the dialogue between Child Emperor and the rest of the heroes that really got me annoyed, especially the my stuff too. All that which just seems so uncharacteristic to what we've seen from the characters the entire time. But here, this is smooth. Even though we're talking about Tatsumaki becoming more fitting, more accustomed, more accepting of other individuals, not just dismissing them because they're inferior to her, which she's known for. That's the character that we saw in the beginning of the S-Class meeting, the first one ever. She's changing, and we've seen the change over time, and it's been given context. This is good. This is fine. There was never a point where I felt that Tatsumaki's backstory of us learning that she has a problem with self-reliance. Never did I feel that any of that was forced. That seemed like it was part of the original story. But there are certain things that do indeed seem forced in and out of place. And that Child Emperor stuff, the Zombie Man stuff, that stuff that was going in right after they had cut down Sairochi and they were comforting Darshan right after that, all that felt out of place and just... It didn't feel cohesive to the rest of the story. So I'm glad that one, or whoever it is that positioned it like this, did a really good job of setting it up this way. Because seeing Tatsumaki and Genos back to back like this, hey, can you still fight? Who do you think you're talking to? That encapsulates everything perfectly. The smile she has on her face, like her willingness to fight after she was previously in the previous chapter telling Bang to leave her alone, like 100%. 100%. But now let's get to the arguable star of the chapter. My boy, Fira Ugly, dude. My boy. Now, we all know what happened, bruh. Bang came in there with that thing, was using the water stream and all kinds of tactics to deflect Fira Ugly's attacks and hit all kinds of places. One of those places that he happened to hit was Gums, and bro, he devastated Gums with I think it was like some kind of crazy caving punch. I think it was like dignity caving punch, something devastating, and he took out Gums with it. Gums came back with that revenge and ate him up, left him all slobbered out, poisoned, just dying, sitting there from his digestive acids that Pig God had mentioned were incredibly powerful. In this chapter, we get to see the actual instances and examples of that power flourish. I didn't give too much credit to the dialogue of Fira Ugly in the previous chapters when he was first introduced in this context, in this sequence here on the surface. I'm not talking about during a mind, I'm talking about on the surface. I never really paid too much attention to the context of that he gets stronger through emotional trauma. We've seen the instance of Metal Bat, the more that you harm him, the more damage he takes, the longer he fights, the more power he'll get. We've seen even a different variant with Garou's Zenkai boost, that the tougher the opponent is, the more he'll be able to overcome. He'll get closer to a Zenkai and get past that. But this is different. Humiliation, disgrace, like, these are the feelings that Fear Ugly said are the ones that are plaguing him. Hold on, let me see if I get the humiliation and inferiority. Yeah, these are the feelings that he's feeling because of this acidic punishment that he was given by attacking Gums. Once again, we knew when Murata and One implemented and gave us that like entire long spiel about whole survival of the fittest from Homeless Emperor, and it was gonna come back to bite him in the butt. And we didn't know the exact instances. We predicted the heroes not working, the monsters not working together, and that was going to be their downfall. And conscious of the heroes working together, and that would be why they win. But now we're seeing another instance of literally because Fuhrer attacked Gums attacked Fuhrer and almost took each other out of the battle. Basically, took each other out of combat. Gums still isn't back. I'm assuming he's going to come back. But in that same instance, Fuhrer gets powered up. Almost stronger than having Gums and Fuhrer on the same field. I'm not going to say that exactly, because the individuals who fought Fuhrer and Gums before were Tank Top and Pig God. Tank Top not being the best combatant out there, and Pig God's competent. Pig God's actually putting in work up against them both. But that's not the highest or the hardest duo you would think. But now Fuhrer's taking on a bigger duo, a bigger trio, basically, and by himself. So this acidic digestive fluid, according to Spring Mustachio, is melting his skin at the same time swelling up from the inside. So he's not only is he in a lot of physical pain, but the humiliation and the smell, just the way he looks, you can tell that this would be something that's emotionally jarring. That's a good word to use. So I could see the context of how Fear Ugly's powers worked and how they have managed to spool him up to this point. The prevailing theory amongst the community is that Fear Ugly managed to accomplish his feats this chapter because of the very same reason. The humiliation is making him this powerful. This is the key example of this is encapsulated in the double super alloy bazooka. We saw what a clash of a super alloy bazooka did up against Garou. Just pulverized the hallway facility that they were in, left it all in sand. But two, double power. Fear Ugly matches this exactly with a forearm melting punch. We didn't assume for any reason in the previous chapter that Fear Ugly was as strong as Darkshine. Sure, he ripped apart My Mask. Sure, he like stomped out Tank Top Master, but that was more an indication of brutality, of viciousness, how relentless Fear Ugly is. But this is a clear example of the feats and capabilities that he can reach. Fear Ugly completely matched and canceled out the super alloy double bazooka, and then melted Darkshine's arms. They are his fists because of the residual contact. And spit on his chest, and now he's just rolling out everywhere, just crying out, defenseless. I don't mean to. It doesn't necessarily put Darkshine in like a bit slight or in an inferior lighting, but to see him rolling around on the ground like that, the pinnacle of defense, an individual who prides himself in standing tall and emanating a dark shine, literally speed blitzed Fear Ugly and was like, you dirty, shineless filth or something like that. And now he's on the ground just rolling around on the dirt with vomit all over him, with intestinal fluid, acidic intestinal fluid all over him. Like, or stomach fluid, whatever you want to call it, all over him. Fear was crazy this chapter. Spits on black sperm. The sperm start to melt. Can they not like split? Did we just find another instance or a way to kill black sperm? You don't know, bruh. And it didn't even stop there. The next instance came with the Sword Council individuals. So Zombai, the bald member of the Sword Council, attacks Fear Ugly, gets his blade melted. We've talked about, or in the previous, I think it was in the stream, or in I'm gonna forget what it was, but recently we talked about the possibility of Atomic Samurai's blades being forged by a specific blacksmith. Maybe even giving more context to his blades being of a certain merit. Even if that were to be the case, which isn't supporting the story yet, it just got melted by Gums' acidic body fluid. The same thing with Zombie. The bald guy like got spat in the face after having his blade caught by Fear Ugly, another speed feat. This guy doesn't seem to be trash. He's definitely a high A class level, if not low S class. Attacks Fear Ugly, he catches it with his hand, then melts it, spits in his face, and just you still see the blood coming out of the back of his head. I'm gonna be surprised if Zombie isn't dead, and I'm honestly gonna be kind of upset. I don't want him to die, but we have to see some reality of the situation, and for it to come from Fear Ugly is definitely suiting. Cheating is putting in some work. He gets a sequence like Atomic Samurai. I wouldn't say he slashed as many times as Atomic Samurai, but he definitely put in work. His technique is called the Ei Rahu Ashura Slash. We talked about how Nichiren has been predicted to be somewhat around Bang's level. Not as strong as Bang, but comparable to Bang. It looks like that was somewhat right. We got the big rock cut that he did last chapter with his special attack, and now this slash attack, it's as quick as almost anything out there. It affected you against the Kadri, but unfortunately, it wasn't enough up against this dirty monster, Fear Ugly. I don't know exactly what to say about like the prospects of Fear Ugly, bro. Like, because is he dying? Like, is the acid stuff, is it killing him or no? Like, we saw Superman says to him, like, he's swelling up and melting from the inside. Like, are you dying? And he calls it a power. Like, is it a power now? Because he spat. It's not like he like let some acid dribble onto his tongue in his mouth and then spat it. No, like he just spat acid out. I think more than once actually. So like, is this actually a new power of Fear Ugly? Is that his ability? With the more humiliation, the longer that he's out there, like, will it get worse? Will it get better? Like, how does that work? Do you remain the same form of humiliated? Like, I don't know how that works. I don't think there's a concrete way of doing that because I've done stuff for me. Like, for example, you'll go out there, like your girlfriend's friends or whatever, or like at a pool party with your friends or whatever, and you put on some like short shorts or whatever to go swimming, or you put on something silly or something like that, right? Just to make everybody laugh or whatever. And it's humiliating, but like you get past it over time. Or even sometimes when you're doing other stuff, let's say you're giving a speech or something like that, and you feel really uncomfortable and nervous, over time you get past it. Emotional trauma, emotional disdain. I don't know the exact words. It's not coming to my head right now. I'm not equating nervousness to being completely humiliated like this. I'm saying that you would think that over time you may get past it. Like a guy who puts on a chicken suit may be humiliating, but over time he may deal with it. But at the same time, you get stories all the time of like the same people. In that very same example of people in suits just hating their job so much that they're like resentful and they're angry all the time. So maybe over time feelings don't improve, especially when it comes to humiliation. Maybe those things just get worse. Maybe you don't get used to them. Maybe you don't find a way to deal with it. Maybe it just gets worse. If that's the case, are we talking about an even stronger Fear Ugly the more this goes on? It's no indication that the more you hurt Fear Ugly, the stronger he gets. But the more you humiliate him, the more that is. The more that turns out to be. I'm wondering why he's coming after or calling after for a Bang. Is it just because he had Gums do this to him, or is it because he was deflecting all his attacks like that? Is it like what is Fear Ugly's exact aim for getting Bang? Is that going to be the first fight that they interfere with Garou? Because Bang's fighting Garou. Fear Ugly sees Bang, comes up to Bang, and then Garou somehow interferes and attacks him. Like, I don't think they've seen Garou. The monsters haven't acknowledged Garou. Darkseid acknowledged Fear Ugly right when he showed up. I don't think the monsters have acknowledged Garou. Atomic Samurai did. A lot of the heroes did last chapter, but we haven't seen that yet. I'm excited to see what the prospects are amongst Bang and Garou. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'd be lying to you if I didn't say that I felt more excited about seeing Bomb fight for the first time than seeing a rematch of Bang and Garou, because this has been awaited for a long time. We've already seen Bang put in work, but there's so much potential here right now. We've talked about all the different individuals in multiple streams, in multiple reactions, and multiple reviews of the different individuals who Garou has a chance to get a rematch up against, who Garou has a chance to show out up against. We've talked about at the beginning of this video about how possibly Garou even got stronger in this fight by encountering the Whirlwind. I don't think it's crazy to assume that Garou has a chance to fight the rest of the people and gain even more skill, or to show us as readers the disparaging difference between the individual who just learned their skill or who fought them previously and what it is now. You know, maybe if Tank Top was still around, we could see the difference between Tank Top back then in Garou and Tank Top now in Garou. Same thing that we're going to see for Bang, same thing we should see for Genos if Meta was to show up, as we said before, with all these different characters. I wouldn't even be surprised if Rover shows up and he happens to encounter Garou as well. All I'm saying is that there's a lot of opportunity here for Garou to involve himself with all different kinds of individuals and for us to see a lot of different matchups. These matchups, these instances, other characters can use to improve themselves or as experiences, like Spring Mustachio, like Lightning Max did with Deep Sea King. Now, whenever he fights with a different opponent or whatever, he pictures the goals of Deep Sea King, when he was taught to try and reach that pinnacle and that ability. And I think that's possible. And I actually would prefer to see something like that for the heroes here. Not that they're going to admire trying to get to where Garou is, but to see the disparaging difference, like I said, between current Metal Battle of the Hospital and Garou. Till next time. Yo ho!